This is probably the video I'm looking forward to the least of filming because I've done versions of this so many fucking times. Hopefully, this is the last one. This is going over the two-handed swing. Now, if you have not seen the deadlift video, go watch that shit. You need that before you do this. The swing, I watch my content. You know it's the best. Like, it's the core of what it is we do here at Sultan of Strong. It's the foundational exercise. If you don't have a good swing, everything else is going to go to shit. So pay super close attention to this. We're going to try to keep it as brief as possible. I think the last swing tutorial I did was like 30 fucking minutes, but I went over like 0 to 100. The way we have this course broken up, you don't have to watch that long. It should only hopefully be 10 minutes or less. If I can do it in under 10 minutes, awesome. Yeah, swing is super awesome. If you got a good deadlift, you're ready for the swing. Grab a bell. I recommend starting with 1/3 body weight. That's kind of been my Goldilocks rule for a while now. With clients, it tends to work best because it's enough weight that your body has to wake up and like fucking do something, right? Because if you don't, your nervous system is going to kick in and be like, no, we don't want to get ragdolled by this thing because it will throw you around. But it's also not so much weight that you can't control it and you're at like a heightened risk of injury. The problem that a lot of people have is that they grab weights that are like super light. They're like, oh, well, because I want to work on my technique. But the problem is that their nervous system is so foreign to the movement and they don't get the hinge and the explosiveness and the range of motion that it's that much harder for them to figure it out, right? And it's really counterintuitive too, because with the swing, you need about 1/3 your body weight. So it's a heavy enough weight for you to feel it and have to work with it. Whereas something like a Turkish get-up, you don't want heavy weight to start. In fact, you want a shoe, you want a towel, you want something folded up that's like weightless to like give you feedback on whether or not you're being balanced. So yes, 1/3 your body weight. Setup is your first rep. It's like got beaten into our heads at the Strong First certification and every fucking workshop they do. Setup is your first rep. And I'm telling you, if your setup is shit, everything else is going to be shit. When you're watching your own videos, the first thing I want you to be looking at is your setup. If you don't have a good setup, the whole set is probably going to be mediocre at absolute best, if not dog shit. That's the first thing I look at. And I can always see like when a shit setup happens, I already know like, all right, cool. This ain't going to be it, but go on. So lock in your setup, whatever cues you need to have a great setup, write them down. Whatever it is, it's going to help you remember it so that it becomes automatic for you. It needs to be second nature, right? Your setup is your first rep. Now, the way that we want to be set up is that bell is going to be arm's length in front of us, right? And our feet are at about a 45-degree angle off from the bell. So we create a triangle. You got the bell, foot, foot. And the easy way to do that is standing next to the bell. And when you step back, it's foot, foot. So what you can see is that my hands are almost directly over that bell handle. My feet are about 45 degrees from it. From the front, this looks like foot, foot. See that bell right in the middle? Now my feet, you'll notice, aren't turned out super wide and they're not on skis or railroad tracks right here, right? Kind of loose in about that 15 degrees, give or take, out type of thing. My big toe is kind of lined up with the outside of my heel, right? It's a comfortable stance for me. Key is you want to be comfortable. We don't want to be super wide, right? We want to be comfortable. And again, instep is even with my shoulders is kind of a good rule of thumb here. It's a great place to start. Now, this is where our setup starts. If your stance is off, everything that comes after this, your entire set of swings is going to be off because the swing is all about putting force into the ground. So if the feet in the ground are fucked up, you're going to have a fucked up result when you're trying to drive through and press your legs into the ground super hard, right? Keep that in mind. So please lock this in. It's going to save everyone a whole bunch of time. Now, when it comes to getting set up past this, we're going to sit back into our hinge, hands on the bell. And now my eyes, I might be looking at the camera here. In reality, when I'm doing a swing, my eyes are about 8 feet, 10 feet in front of me, okay? So from the side, what this looks like is when I get set up, foot, foot, and I'm staring at the bells off to the side here. And a good thing that you can do is you can grab an implement and place it in front of you about 8 to 10 feet so you have something to stare at, right? And what that does is that keeps your eyes trained on that so that it's easier time getting into your backswing, but also keeps you from overarching your neck and doing all that kind of shit. Now, from here, once again, foot, I'm getting set up and I'm getting back into my hinge. Now, you'll notice my shins are pretty close to vertical. My hips are moving back and my back is flat. You need to have a neutral spine, right? AKA flat back, neutral spine, flat back. That also means this is no longer a neutral spine. Looking like this is no longer neutral. This is neutral. Sitting back into that hinge. So remember from the deadlift, sitting back, balanced over the middle of our foot, right? Good way that you can analyze this is shoulders over hips, hips over knees. If we're in this position, we're ready to be powerful out of our hinge. Hand check. Hands are directly over that handle. I sit back, hands on the handle here. Now, from here, I'm going to pack my lats, right? And the way that that looks is I'm packing my lats down like this, and that helps crowd my chest, right? Now, by doing so, that gives me some tension, it locks me into that bell, so I'm connected to it. We want to be connected to the bell, right? Now, your arms, they're good for the hike, but after that, your arms don't do anything. Your arms are simply there to be like chains. They're chaining that bell to your body. The rest of your body is what drives it. So your arms aren't lifting it. Your arms are simply guiding, right? The hips drive, the arms guide. It goes for the swing, the clean, and the snatch. So as we go through this, we're going to sit back, hands on the bell, proud chest, packing those lats. I'm sitting and I'm grabbing the floor with my toes. That gives me that tension, right? I feel that stretch in my hamstrings. My upper back, my mid back is nice and tight, like a toiga. And the next thing we're gonna work on is our hike. Now, with the hike, we wanna have minimal movement, right? Minimal movement of our body because we're loaded into a good hinge. So we wanna get that bell to that hinge so we can stand up without rocking or doing any of that kind of funny stuff. You're gonna see that at first, because that weight distribution is swinging back, it's gonna throw our weight off and our body has to kind of figure out where we're at. So that means we might stand up a little bit, right? You might wanna rock forward. We definitely don't wanna rock forward, but that's okay. The goal is you wanna keep your chest down, right? Your upper body, your torso down to the ground as you go for that hike. If you are visually cueing or mentally cueing to yourself, keeping my back down, back flat and down, that will help keep your hips down and keep you closer into that hinge, right? If you're hiking and you're already looking to come up, it's gonna fuck up the whole sequence. So what the hike looks like, something like this, sitting back, packed. Now you notice there's a rock forward, right? I'm rocking forward because I got a third of my body weight that's shifting back. So in order to compensate for that center of mass movement back, right, or center of gravity movement back, I need to shift forward a little bit with the rest of my body to counteract that, or else it's just gonna knock me over on my ass. We don't want that. So again, there is gonna be a little bit of movement. That's just physics, right? That's physics, it's the way it works. When you get into like lighter weights, you could do it without the movement because your body can kind of mitigate that. But with 1/3 your body weight, it's just gonna happen. What you'll notice though is that when I set the bell down, right, it's quiet. You don't hear like a thud, you don't hear, right, or any bouncing around or anything like that, right? It's quiet. And what we're practicing here with practicing our hike is we're practicing the start, but also the finish. Because that setup position is exactly where your backswing needs to be when you are doing continuous sets of swings. And that set down after the hike is how you set the bell down when you're done with your set. Because we do a swing, we swing, that bell comes down, we always catch it in our hips, and then when we're done, we catch it in the hips and set it back down, just like we do on the hike. So our setup is actually our first rep, but also our last rep. So when you think about that, you understand why the setup is so important. Because so many times the injury happens right at the end of that set, when the bell comes down, you just kind of collapse, and you see someone and they just drop the bell and their back is flat or rounded and they're relaxed. Well, now they got all that weight that's yanking their back in a weird position when it's relaxed and torqued in a spot where it's not actually going to be as strong as it can be or should be in order to not get injured, right? So setup is your first rep, also your last rep. It's also, when you get that hike, that is your backswing every time. So if your setup is good and your hike is good, you've now primed your body to have a great backswing for each and every rep that comes after. So this is just, what we're doing is we're laying the foundation, we're layering the cake up. So that each and every aspect of your swing as you go through this progression is going to be fantastic. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be strong. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be technically excellent, great movement quality. All the things that we talk about in the other videos in the philosophy, we execute in here. So we get our hike, we set the bell down quietly, right? Now, once you have that hike, we're going to move into what we call power swings. The power swing is we hike the bell, we stand up to do a swing, and then we catch the bell, set it back down. Hold up. Motherfucking hot in this garage. So the power swing, we want to be hiking that bell. We snap the hips hard, drive, let it float up, let it float back down, catch it, and set it back down. And this is where the actual swing portion comes in. When we swing, when we stand up, we want to have a hard lock of the hips. Now, I'm going to be vertical in this position. We go over this in the hardstyle plank video. Our hardstyle plank is our top position for our swing, our clean, our snatch, anything we're doing standing. So my legs are locked, quads are flexed, my glutes are tight, my abs are braced. I'm not arching back or leaning back. I'm vertical right in here, okay? Now, the bell is going to come up, and I'm going to be connected, and when the bell gets to about shoulder height, when your arm is parallel to the ground, right, and I have a little bit of bend in the elbow so that I can stay connected, I'm going to hit the brakes on it. We don't swing and let the bell float way up here. Our abs and our lats are stopping that bell at shoulder height. Reason for that is because if we want to go up above the shoulder, we're just going to do a snatch. But that's a different exercise, so we're not going to worry about that for now. Shoulder height is all we want, and it helps us stay connected easier. As soon as it gets up here, we start to lose the lats, the abs get extended, all kinds of bad things can happen. Also, sidebar, fuck CrossFit and fuck their American kettlebell swing. That's the most unpatriotic bullshit that I have seen since fucking Antifa or like Democrats. Point being that, like that, again, it's not, it sullies the word American for starters. Also, it's an abortion of movement. It's not how the swing is supposed to go. You're trying to do like a two-handed fucking snatch with one bell. It's trash. It's fucking trash. And that's really what they turn it into, is they turn it into like a fucking snatch with two hands on the same bell that like a normal person should be able to snatch one hand. So just do a fucking snatch. So we stop at shoulder height. We want a strong snap of the hips. We want the quads flexed, glutes flexed, abs tight, and we want to make sure that we're braced. Right? Imagine like we're throwing a punch or we're taking a punch. Brace through here. We want to get that hiss, just like our hardstyle plank, just like our glute bridge. Those movements are priming us for this. We get that hiss, and that locks everything into place. That bell is going to float up, hit the brakes if we need to, and then it's going to float back down. Now, the key for this is that we want that bell to come all the way down to our hips, so our arms hit our hips before we break into a backswing. As soon as you break into a backswing, right, now all of a sudden that load is going to go into your back. So that bell is wanting to drive straight down. But when your arms hit your hips, now you can absorb all of that load into your glutes and hamstrings. Whereas here, we lose that connection, and now we have a longer lever arm that's pulling us down. And that's why when you look at the movement standards for a swing, snatch, clean, whatever, any of these ballistics, that handle has to pass above your knees, because that is kind of forcing you to get into that hinge, and we're not getting dragged way around. So if you're doing a swing and that bell is touching the ground, like during your reps, you're fucking up. Easy cue to remember for this is you want to wait for the hands to splash at the hips, right? Like there's a pool of water here, wait for it to splash. Or what I like to do is I like to tell people, play chicken with your zipper. Attack your zipper, play chicken with your nuts, right? Play chicken with the crotch, whatever, anywhere in that no-fly zone, you want to play chicken with it. Get as close as you possibly can to down there, the no-no square, before you sit back into that hinge. And what you'll find is that the longer you wait, the better your timing and your rhythm are with your swing. Not only that, it will allow you to feel all that elasticity on the backswing and then send the bell flying forward. The reason I'm harping on all of this stuff in the backswing before we even get into the power swing is because if you understand this, then you can do a proper power swing better. You know how to wait on the bell, you know how to get back into your hinge, get back into the backswing like you practice in your setup. Power swing becomes easy and you progress that much quicker to your actual swings that we're going to be doing. So to recap, we go through our setup, we do our hike. Great, we got the hike. Next, we move into a power swing where we hike the bell, do one swing, catch the bell, set the bell down, repeat. Each time is one rep. What it'll look like is like this. I go foot, foot, getting into my setup, right? At the top, I'm bracing, I'm locking in my top position, hinging back, eyes on that nice bright orange foam roller about 8 feet in front of me. I'm gonna hike the bell, stand up, and catch it, set it back down. And that is what a power swing should look like. Now, when you're doing your power swings, no more than sets of 5. 3 to 5 reps is enough to practice the movement and get the feel for it. It's very taxing to go from a dead stop each and every time. So 3 to 5 reps, make sure you got a good feel for it. When you're doing your power swing, again, go through your cues, make sure you're being patient on that bell. When you snap up, quads flexed, glutes flexed, abs flexed, get a good hiss with the hips. So when the hips lock, that's when it hits, everything's locked in place. Let the bell float, let the bell float. Simple as can be. So that is our power swing. Now, we want to move into our continuous swings, all the requirements for the backswing. All you're going to do is you're just going to lock in rep after rep after rep after rep. So you're going to reach back into the backswing, right? Let that bell carry you back deep into your hinge. You're going to send it flying forward and up. Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. You're going to let that bell float down, let the bell do the work. The harder you work to try to get to your backswing faster, the more work you end up doing. But you can let that bell come all the way back down, catch, and pull you back into the backswing, let gravity do the work, and take advantage of all that muscle elasticity in your posterior chain. Or you could try to do it yourself and end up fucking up your back and fucking up the whole movement and leaving so many gains on the table. So the way that it works is we're going to start here, foot, foot, because setup is our first rep and our last rep. Locking in our top position, sitting back into our hinge, hands on the bell, pack those lats, proud chest, pick your target with the eyes. We're going to knock out some swings. So that'd be what a set of 5 should look like. And you'll notice during the set, I was correcting myself, right? So partway through that set, the bell kind of got a little high. The next rep, I locked in a little bit more, hit the brakes sooner, okay? Looking at that foam roller, and you could tell when my eyes kind of drifted up a little bit, and I brought them right back down to stay neutral with that spine. When I do that, it makes it easier for me to access my backswing. So win-win on that front. Now, with your swing, for this, 5 to 10 reps. I say do either 5 or do 10. Pick one or the other. Start with sets of 5, right? When you feel, okay, cool, I feel comfortable, get into sets of 10, because when you get into those sets of 10, that transition from 5 to 10 gives you so much more, literally double the amount of repetitions to learn and refine with. And by the time, unless you're really, really sharp, by the time you figure out what it is that was kind of like a little off, your set's done if you only got 5 reps. But if you got 10 reps, you got that many more, repetitions to lock that in and fix whatever that is. So each and every day when you go through this, pick one thing that you're going to hammer, and that's the cue that you want to refine and lock in. If you do that over, a few weeks, even a month, and you're just fixing one thing per day, well, you're going to have a great looking swing pretty soon. So knocking out sets of 10. When you get into the programming section, we talk about kind of going off track with certain things. You can go beyond sets of 10. You can hit a 15, 20, 25, 50 reps. If you've done the 10,000 swing challenge, you're hitting sets of 50, right? It's exhausting. It's a lot of fucking work, but you learn something about yourself in the process. So general rule of thumb though is 10 reps. You're doing sets of 10 consistently, repeatedly. You're doing it for conditioning. You can hit them on the minute. You can do it on the 30, things like that. All kinds of places you can go with it. The goal being, if you're a grown man, you want to be one-handed swinging a 32 kilo for 10 reps every 30 seconds for 5 minutes. That's kind of like baseline standard that you want to work towards. But it takes time to get there. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of training, a lot of refinement of your movement. That being said, that covers the whole gamut of the two-handed swing. In a separate video, we're going to go over the one-handed variation of how to adapt everything we've done in this module to doing one hand. The key being that with this, you should easily be able to bang out like 10 reps on the minute for 20 minutes, two-handed swing, before you worry about going to the one-handed version, right? Because this is so crucial to lock this in with two hands before we start getting monkeying around with alternate hands and all that kind of thing. So two-handed swing, incredibly important. I can't stress it enough. Just to recap everything, setup is your first rep and your last rep. Go from get your hike down, get your power swing down, get your regular swing down. When you have the swings down, making sure we're getting a full backswing. We're snapping the hips every time. Exhale. Breathe in on the way down in that backswing. Pull that air into your belly button. You could hear me breathing in and then at the top, right? With the hips at the top. Don't let it go past your shoulders. Glutes tight. Quads tight, abs tight, the whole thing. Grab the floor with your toes, all that. All the cues that we went over. Pick one, hammer it every day, get really, really good at this. Then you get to move on from there. But the two-handed swing, foundational exercise, can't stress it enough. That's all we got. We'll catch you in the next video.